Welcome everybody to a new revamped version of StorrsNation. We've got new segments for you all and we cannot wait to get to them. Tonight I'm alongside bad boy journalists Nick Lajara and Brandon Carney, and we're going to give you the most cutting edge information on the hottest pro sports stories on the planet. These guys push it to the limit every week, battling deadlines, equipment issues, and even changing nickel hours better than anybody else in the industry. So without further delay, let's take a quick break and get right to some March Madness talk when we get back.
I'm excited to see some hoops being shot.
All right, we're back with some March Madness storylines. After the first weekend of games, we've got some upsets, Cinderellas, mid-majors, and your classic blue blood program still in the tournament. There's really too much to talk about for just one show, so I'm going to throw it to our star-studded analyst panel here for some summaries. So Nick, give me your Cinderella pick. Who is the most classic mid-major team in the tournament thus far, and who is your pick to win?
My Cinderella has to be Michigan. When you think about the plane crash a couple weeks back and them sleepwalking throughout the season, to now winning the Big Ten and 2 marquee victories over Oklahoma State and Louisville in the tournament, I don't think anyone would have seen this coming. They could be the lowest seed to win it since UConn back in 2014. A 7 seed all the way to the Final Four, it might sound crazy, but it's absolutely possible to beat Wolverines. And the classic mid-major team for me has to be Butler. They absolutely epitomize the meaning of a mid-major, starting with the coach. Less than 50, all the way to the team leader. Guess who? The senior point guard that sports the good old Hanes t-shirt. They certainly have all the ingredients to make a run further into the tournament. They won't, however, and my pick to win the national championship is the UCLA Bruins. Generally, college basketball in crunch time comes down to guard play, and Lonzo Ball is the best point guard in the country. He's the pilot of this UCLA team, and I expect him to carry his team to the title.
Definitely a popular pick with UCLA. We've got some great mid-major action there with Butler. Brandon, who's your Cinderella?
All right, well, for my Cinderella, I got to go with South Carolina. It was a team that looked like a contender early in the season. Things went south. They lost 6 of their last 9 games and headed into the NCAA tournament with basically no momentum at all. But then they decided they were going to go ahead and beat Duke in the second round, which really everyone is happy to see. So thank you, South Carolina, because literally no one wants to see Duke win. As for the classic mid-major team, got to be Middle Tennessee State. Unfortunately, there aren't any mid-majors left in the tournament, but these guys are exactly what you think of when you think of a mid-major. A gritty team with a veteran roster that feels like they have something to prove. And as all mid-major teams seem to have, they have a great player with an amazing name and who is arguably the Blue Raiders' best player, point guard Giddy Potts. So obviously, I have to go with them. Now, I picked to win Kansas. I picked Kansas at the start. They're still in it. They've given me no reason to change my mind. They've got Player of the Year candidate Frank Mason, potential top 5 draft pick Josh Jackson, and a great supporting cast around them, including Sviatoslav Mikhailuk. I just really like saying that name. But yeah, good offense, good defense, veteran leadership. What more could you want? Jayhawks all the way.
All right, so that's basically all you need to know about the tournament as far as the teams are concerned. But here at UCTV, we like to go beyond the games and get to the most impactful storylines. This will bring us to a new segment here. We've got a new segment. It's called Helicopter Parent versus the GOAT. So at this point, basically everybody has heard at least somebody talk about LaVar Ball's outrageous claims about his sons or himself or whatever. But this one is probably the most outrageous. He claimed that back in my heyday, I would have killed Michael Jordan one-on-one. He better make every shot because he can't go around me. He's just not fast enough. So that's a pretty bold claim right here for a guy who played a little bit of D3, a little bit of D1, but we'll go to the analysts for their takes. So Nick, how do you see this battle of the giants playing out? Give me some keys to this matchup.
Oh boy, I think this could be a good matchup. He averaged 17 points per game at the Division III level. He was so good. He actually went up to play Division I and averaged a grand total of, guess what, 2.2 points per game at Washington State. The man averaged 2.2 points per game. Good luck, Jordan.
Yeah, you know, definitely a lot of questions about Jordan's ball skills and shooting, and I don't think he's ready for that D3 speed yet. So, Brandon, what are your thoughts? Who do you have winning this matchup?
Well, the D3 speed is no joke, but here's the matchup. All right, biggest key. These guys need to avoid blowing their knees out. LaVar Ball is 48. Michael Jordan is 54. I would say there's about a 90% chance this matchup ends in a no contest with both men sitting in ice baths and reminiscing about their glory days. They're both just way too old for this to be even remotely entertaining or interesting. Scrap it, make them go one-on-one at shuffleboard instead.
Damn. Shots fired here. So at this point, if you're even watching this still, you pretty much know everything there is to know about March Madness. And I personally guarantee you that if you make a bet this weekend, there's a 100% chance that you will win or your money back with the information that we've just given you. But we've got to take another commercial break, and we'll be right back with a little bit of football talk.
Campus is lit, like, all the time. And
All right, we're back, and yes, you heard me correctly. We're going to get into some very early season football talk as the NFL draft is right around the corner. The NFL Combine took place in early March, so there's been plenty of speculation already about potential draft picks. We're going to start out by prepping all of our viewers for the headlines they're going to see in the weeks leading up for the draft. So Brandon, what are some few generic headlines and storylines we're going to see all over the internet in the next few weeks?
All right, well, headline number one, the Combine stud. You know, the guy that has all the measurables, can run and jump better than basically everyone else, but is kind of not great at the whole actually playing football thing. But he's suddenly going in the first or second round. And it hurts to say this on a UConn-based show, but the poster boy for this right now is Obi Melifonwu. I want the best for the guy. I hope he becomes the greatest safety of all time, but the hype might be a little overblown, just a little bit. Headline number two, the guy who's at the top of Mel Kiper's big board for like 2 days straight. Seriously, there's always a couple guys that are so poorly ranked that you wonder how a guy like Kiper got it so wrong. But it's going to happen. It always does.
You know, Kiper always has that one head scratcher, and to be honest, they should probably let somebody proofread for him so we don't end up with that dude lasting 4 or 5 rounds at the #1 spot. So Nick, what do you have that we should look out for?
This is an easy one. I got to go with which QB is going to be the next Dak Prescott. Hey, maybe it will be Davis Webb from Cal, or maybe it will be Patrick Mahomes, the gunslinger from the Big 12. But one thing's for sure, every team will be searching for the next face of the franchise. And don't forget, the team that drafts the same position 4 times, I'm thinking the Browns and 49ers will be the most likely candidates.
Definitely some good ones there. I'm going to go and add one of my own here. We got the undersized linebacker, probably going to have to make a switch to strong safety. But the interesting thing about this move is there's going to be a lot of questions about their speed and coverage and whether or not he can pick up an NFL receiver. Does this guy even have NFL speed? We just don't know yet. Anyways, let's go to our next NFL draft segment, and we've got the new Ryan Leaf Award. So we're going to tell you right now who the biggest bust is going to be, and if he's on your team or you're a Browns fan, but probably both. Well, maybe you should just take a year off from football. So Brandon, who gets your Ryan Leaf Award for the 2017 draft?
Well, I was originally going to go with Obi Melifonwu, but again, I refuse to do that. I refuse to slander him on a UConn show. So, unfortunately, I'm giving the Ryan Leaf Award to 2017 national champion quarterback Deshaun Watson. 2 of his biggest strengths are that he's mobile and he's tough. That all sounds great, but in the NFL, that might be a problem. The league is moving away from the trend of running quarterbacks. Kaepernick is still looking for work, and Cam Newton has dropped off significantly and really just cries about getting hit and wears dumb things during press conferences. So, although Watson is tough like Cam, that makes him susceptible to big hits. I'm fully expecting the Browns to take him, and then he'll be a bust, and the Browns' sad existence will continue.
All right, so Nick, who you got as a bust, a.k.a. who's on the Browns' radar right now?
I got to go with the #1 quarterback prospect, Mitchell Trubisky. Now, I'm going to ask you something. How many successful people have you met named Mitch? He had a grand total of 13 starts and had a record of 8-4. Again, he had a solid season. But if any team drafts him in your top 10, well, you're going to have yourself a Ryan Leaf.
All right, so if you're an exec at the Browns organization right now, hopefully you write some of these down. but you probably won't because you work for the Browns and they're #1 on your spots right now. So those are our hot takes for the week, and unfortunately we've got to wrap it up for now. But next time we'll have even more new segments for you and maybe some Tiger Woods speculation now that golf is getting back into swing. Pun
Swing.
definitely in
Yeah,
see,
swing.
yeah.
I see what you did. Wow.
But for right now, I'm Cameron DeBrusk alongside bad boy journalists Nick Lajara and Brandon Carney, and you're watching UCTV.